welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a massage for people that work at desks, so people that struggle with upper back and neck pain. And I'll be working on the lovely Lauren. Let's go ahead and get started. So if I am working on someone that is spending a lot of time at a desk and is hunched forward, I kind of am guessing that there's some tension and inflammation along the base of the skull. And that can be a really nice way to just begin this kind of work. And before we started this massage, I asked Lauren to actually position her arms in the way that's best for the routine we're going to do. So we're all set up. And you do need to be a little bit careful when your client's facing down that you're not just like smushing their head into the table, into the face cradle. So I'm just more pushing like towards her forehead than pressing down. And I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of walk my way down, and I'm gonna start this massage with a pincer grasp. So I'm just gonna kind of flush this area with some fresh blood to start. I'm just grabbing hold of that muscle belly, and I'm just gonna hold. And any kind of holding technique, it's very grounding for your client. Kind of helps them to settle into their own experience a little bit more. But just make sure it's not too much to start. So when I release, just that blood comes rushing into those different muscles, mainly that upper trap. And I'm just gonna do that one more time. Another technique that's really great for circulation is tapotement, which is basically just tapping. A very overlooked technique that's very healing. I find it to be kind of an awkward way to like begin a massage, but I do like to include it. And I'm not going to work on that upper trap in a whole lot of detail, but I am going to go ahead and go in with some oil. I'm focusing a lot on the arms today, actually, which might be surprising to hear if you're someone who has upper back and shoulder pain as a result of working at a desk. Excuse me, upper back and neck pain more than shoulder, but shoulder too, I guess. This isn't the position that I would choose if I were mainly working on the upper trap. The position of the arms would be a little different. And I'm just working my way around the scapula, just working on that muscle fiber a little bit before I move into the arms. And I'm really not worried about working in too much detail right now. Just really allowing all that muscle fiber to soften a little bit. And if I can get, you know, just a softening somewhat of that upper trap, it's gonna make the work that I'm gonna do in the neck a lot easier. And just making sure that there's some oil on that rotator cuff muscle, that infraspinatus, or when I come back later. And I'm going to be focusing on that deltoid a good bit. I do try to, especially if I'm working on a client in the middle of the day, I'm just really conscientious of where I'm getting oil. Try not to get oil in people's hair as much as possible. I really like to give people a sort of roadmap whenever I'm doing a massage so that they're not really surprised by anything. I'm just giving Lauren an idea of where I'm going to be working a little bit more and spending more time. And I'm just starting to focus on that deltoid, those tricep muscles a little bit. And I'm just gonna work on this soft tissue, just doing circles. It's a really straightforward way to just kind of warm everything up. And working in the same direction as the muscle fiber that is in the deltoid. Just really focusing on lengthening everything. I'd say trigger point is probably like the most time efficient way to work on tension in the deltoid. There's quite a bit of tension that can collect there, especially if somebody has rounded shoulders or tension in the upper trap. But this is like a great technique for warming everything up and just getting more familiar with what's going on. And if you need to expose that muscle a little bit more, you can even like angle the arm. And it's a really nice place to do a little bit of active release as well. This muscle can be really large on some people, and it tends to be bigger on people that work out a lot. I'm always kind of like asking myself how I can work more efficiently with less effort. Whenever I can do active release, I'm definitely doing that. And just because I'm doing active release doesn't mean that I have to force anything. I'm really just letting Lauren do the work for me. And if you wanted to bring that active release all the way into the bicep tendon, this is kind of the perfect position for that. That can really help open up the upper back and shoulders as well. You know, sometimes more is better when it comes to doing more detailed work, but that's not always the case. Just kind of listening to what Lauren needs from moment to moment. With active release, you can use a quicker movement, or you can, really slow it down. No right or wrong way to do that. Everybody has kind of a different temperament as well, so that can kind of affect like pacing and stuff. And and just doing something that feels really nice after that more detailed work. I was going to do some work in that forearm, but I think I'm going to go ahead and move right into the neck. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that Lauren's hair is out of the way. I can really work on those little muscles along that occipital ridge. I find that after doing some work in the deltoid and the upper trap, the neck is usually like a little more relaxed and a little softer. So I'll usually finish this type of routine in the neck. I don't usually start with the neck. And just working on that upper trap. So bringing that stroke all the way into the base of the skull. This is a really nice angle to work on the scalenes as well. I might do a few strokes along the scalenes, just allowing them to lengthen a little bit. But my main focus is on some compressive work along that occipital ridge. Lauren was kind of complaining of some discomfort along this area and just some tension. I'm gonna go ahead and always kind of keeping what my client wants at the forefront instead of getting distracted or lost by what I find. And the body is kind of just always in a state of like finding balance. And so often, like when somebody's feeling pain, I feel like it's natural to think that you're doing something wrong, but that's not really like the case. So just really helping people to feel balanced and feel, good. And I'm just doing little compressive circles along the base of the skull. So I'm working on this connective tissue and I'm working on these suboccipital muscles. It can feel really nice to, in combination with that, if you can run your thumb along that upper trap as it gets narrower. If you stop at the very top with a nice compressive movement, can feel really nice. You can get a really nice release in there. I usually end my compressive work with that, just holding a little bit longer towards the end of that upper trap. Go ahead and move to the other side. And I'm gonna work through the same routine on this side, but it's gonna be a little bit quicker. Always remembering that like when you're applying oil, it's part of the massage. Just rubbing oil on is a little different than like including it as part of the massage. If that makes sense. And I'm not really expecting myself to do the exact same routine on this side. So just working like organically each side is gonna have slightly different stuff going on. This is kind of the simplest way to do a little bit of cross fiber work in that deltoid. Just doing little circles. And I'm gonna go in with some trigger point. And this is actually a lot easier when you can kind of mobilize the arm a little bit more. And if you want to start working into some active release, this is a great technique to use on this area. Sometimes when I'm doing active release, I'll actually just give my client a little break. So I'll just do some kind of less focused strokes, and then I'll go in again. It can feel a little bit intense. And it does require a good bit of focus. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring that into the bicep tendon and just do a little bit. And just moving a little bit more quickly through this side. And just finding an angle that feels nice and comfy as I get ready to work on these neck muscles. And just really following that upper trap. And if you're struggling to feel comfortable working on the upper trap as it goes into the neck, you can always angle the face cradle down a little bit more. It can be really helpful. And if you're struggling as you get closer to the base of the neck, if you feel like you're losing contact with that muscle, don't be too hard on yourself. It does get harder to work on as you get closer to the base of the neck. Not harder to work on, but takes a little more concentration to really stay on it. And sometimes I'll, have an easy time on one side and then I'll kind of struggle a little bit more with the other side. And whenever I feel like I'm struggling to stay on a muscle or even locate a muscle, I'll usually take a little break and then kind of go back to it. And sometimes it's not that you're struggling to stay on it. Sometimes there can be so much tension that it can just be very different from side to side. Your experience working on the same muscle or muscle group can feel pretty different. And it can also be, sometimes working on the neck from this angle can be a little bit awkward, and just something as simple as moving if you're seated, moving your chair and the angle that you're working from can make all the difference. And right now I'm just doing those compressive circles along this occipital ridge, encouraging all of this connective tissue to stretch and relax, and working on these suboccipitals. And I am going to end with that upper trap. This begins to feel pretty intense the closer that you get to the spine. Just gonna follow that upper trap and end with a nice lingering compressive movement. And I'm gonna go ahead and end with just a nice technique for the neck that can feel pretty soothing. I'm just gonna use some soft fists and do something for the upper trap that just feels more soothing after that deeper work. And I would like to thank a few of our patrons. I'd like to thank Kim Holper, Imps P, and Rebecca H. Thank you guys so much for your support. And that is a wrap for today. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed today's video, you should check out our Patreon page where you'll find some exclusive content. I look forward to seeing you there.
Join us for 14 and 30-day programs, hour-long classes, and much more on our yoga app, Yoga Plus by Psyche Truth. It's free to download and features a variety of wellness content, including yoga, fitness, Pilates, guided meditations, and interviews with dozens of wellness experts.